Hey you guys, it's Sonia. So I wanted to do this video. I always say quick video, but it's never a quick video. But I was on Facebook perusing, and I'm part of a couple of lock groups. And one loctician posted a photo of one of her clients' locks, and I think she had braid locks. And she was saying how her hair grows outside of the lock, and that there's nothing, if your hair grows like that, there's nothing really that can be done about it. And, as her loctician, she just makes sure that she takes the time to put that hair back into the lock when she does her retie. And she showed a before and after picture. I've been trying to find this post and I cannot find it, and I'm mad because I want to show you guys what it looked like and what was said. And then of course there was like a ton of comments of all these other women who said that they have the same issue. And then there were a few people on there who commented and said, no, that looks like breakage to me. That's breakage. And that's not normal. So it's like there's this conundrum again, like, is it breakage or is it just your hair not growing inside of the lock? Now, one good thing I can say about my very first consultant who established my sister locks when I had sister locks, she told me off the bat that I had that type of hair that would grow outside the locks. And this was after she installed the test locks, and I came back and she saw how she told me I would have this issue off the bat. And I did, because it was always in the back. It started in the back. My hair is a finer texture, it's very soft, and it's very fine, and it's a looser texture than the rest of my hair in the back. So I would say my hair in the back is like 4A, for whatever reason, but it is. And that's where I always had the issue of my hair, just growing the way it wanted to grow. Eventually it came all over, but then here's my thing. Can I really say that it's my hair not growing inside the lock? When, with my first loctician, she did a lot of yanking and pulling. She called herself going fast when really she was just doing a lot of yanking and pulling and causing damage to my hair, to my scalp. That was the start of my breakage. Then from her, I went to someone who just did my reties entirely too tight, consistently. And I had to stop going to her. And then the next person I found was actually very good, but she essentially dumped me because she was going to be moving out of town and really didn't give me any suggestions of who I could go to or follow up with. So I would have stuck with her because I liked the way she did my reties. She never did them tight. She used a crochet hook instead of the typical, lock tool. So I like that too. She was very gentle, and I would have stayed with her if she would have stuck around or was at least stable in some, And then once again, I ended up with someone who does reties too tight. So I'm saying all this to say, I went to my first loctician for over a year. For a year, not over a year. I went to her for 1 year. And in that 1 year, damage was done. I started seeing loose hairs all over, not just in the back where it's all soft and fine, but all over. She started the damage. She did. And then, after I went to the loctician who was doing my hair just entirely too tight, and my head was hurting for an entire week further damage was done. And then there's me with my dandruff issue, scratching constantly with these nails, or having my daughter scratch my scalp for me. I did damage. So you take all those things into consideration. Yeah, damage was definitely done. I do have breakage. But I think my issue is kind of half breakage, half my hair always having been what it was, which is it grows outside the lock. And I'm kind of tired of people acting like there's no such thing as people's hair not growing inside the lock. It's a thing. It does happen. Not everybody's hair grows with the lock. There is a bunch of us out here who have that issue of every time you do a retie, you have to put hair back inside the lock. That's just what it is. And what I'm finding is there's a lot of locticians who aren't willing to take the time to put your hair back inside the lock, or they don't know how. It's one of those two things. And that's why I feel like it's important for you to learn how to do those things yourself. And I think when you have bigger locks, I think it's good to do twisting versus, well, at least for me, I just feel like it's better because then you can just grab those hairs, you can twist, and yes, you can use the tool to crochet the hairs back in. But as long as you're doing it some kind of way, attempting to do it, don't leave those loose hairs out, even though I know those who freeform or who really aren't too bothered about those loose hairs, they just leave them and let them do what they do. But I think over time, you still have to worry about breakage. And do you want your hair, or do you mind your hair matting, or or whatever it is. I don't know what happens when you don't put those loose hairs back in a lot, because I always have it put back or some kind of way, whether if it's, wrapping it around the base of the lock to strengthen the base or whatever. So I don't know what happens when you don't do that, but I don't know. I guess it depends on you, but it is a thing. And I'm tired of people always saying that it's breakage. And what's his face? The famous loctician. He's one that preaches that any hair that doesn't grow inside the lock is breakage. I don't agree with that. Damian Walters, he believes that it's breakage, and he'll argue, well, he used to, but I guess he doesn't anymore now, but it's what he teaches, that's breakage. If you have hair that doesn't grow inside the lock, it's breakage. And I'm like, then how do you fix that? What do you tell people who have that issue and who've had that issue since they started their locks? And people who started their locks with healthy hair. I didn't have breakage in the back. My hair wasn't broken off in the back. When I started my lock journey, my hair was long in the back. That's where it was the longest. I never had breakage in the back of my head. When I started my lock journey, I had breakage here. And they were like two small little patches. And that was from having braids. And it was some cheap hair that was used. And I scratched, I had an allergic reaction to the hair. And I scratched and caused breakage. And, that was it. I didn't have breakage all over my hair. My hair was pretty healthy outside of this area right here. And it was a very small area. And before I started my locks, before I had my sister locks installed, I made sure that I cut cut as much of that breakage away as I could. And I started my lock journey. So how do you go from pretty much having healthy hair all over, except for this one little area, to having breakage all over your head? And I'm almost at my 3-year anniversary. So now I just got a head full of unhealthy hair, unhealthy locks, and I just got all this breakage out of nowhere, besides, too tight reties. But I guess my point is, over time, eventually your hair is going to grow back. It's going to, like, do you get where I'm going with this? Like, it just makes no sense to me to say that people who have that have breakage, and it's not just how their hair grows. Because a lot of people, hair does not grow with the lock or in the lock. You know what I'm saying? So it just kind of, seeing that Facebook post and then seeing how many people were saying, oh my God, I have that same problem. It made me feel so much better, because it was like confirmation that it's not just me. I'm not the only one who have this issue. And also, it kind of angered me that everybody who claimed, there were other people on there who claimed to be locticians. Oh, that's breakage. You can't tell me any different. That's breakage. I know breakage when I see it. No, you don't. I would love to know how long those people have been doing locks for them to know the difference, because you need to know hair first and foremost in order to know the difference. And a lot of these women, I'm sorry, they do not know hair. They took a class, they learned how to retie, they learned how to establish. Learning hair, natural hair, is totally different. Totally, totally different. That's a whole other course that you need to go to beauty school to learn. You know what I mean? So I can't listen to people who think because they know how to do a retie or establish locks, they think they know natural hair and all the different things that can go on with natural hair and all the different ways that people's hair grow. No two heads of hair are the same. Everybody's hair grows differently. And that's the point that I want to make. Like, you just can't put everybody in the same box and say locks are supposed to grow this way, and if they don't, then you have breakage. No, that's not true. Everybody's hair grows differently, and I'm tired of hearing the Damian Walters of the world and other people who say that if your hair doesn't grow this way, if your locks don't grow this way, then you have damaged hair, you have breakage. It's not all breakage. Clearly breakage and your hair growing outside of the lock, they basically look the same. Like, you have new hair that grows. Yes, everybody has new hair that grows. My new hair just happens to grow outside of the lock. I have hair that grows inside the lock, and I also have hair that grows outside of the lock in my parts. I don't know what it is about that's so hard for people to understand. I just don't. So that was my rant. I'm going to end it here. Please comment if you've seen or heard things such as this, and just give me your thoughts. Like, I know a lot of you also have locks that grow outside of your grid. You know that's an issue. Even if your reties aren't done tight, you still have that issue. And that's why I'm like, how is that breakage if they have, your hair is healthy, your reties aren't done too tight, yet your hair still grows outside the lock? Then what is that? It's not breakage all the time. I think I have both. I have breakage going on, and I also have my hair, which grows the way it wants to grow, which is outside lock. And there's nothing I can do about that, except every retie or every retwisting, put that hair back in. That's all I can do. So hit me up in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.